Hello everyone, hope you all are doing good. So this week I thought of making a dry pastel drawing from Caran d'Ache since I haven't done it in a very long time, and I'm going to use Can Send Me Tined paper. The size of the drawing or painting for today is petite. It's between A5 and A6, and I've pre-sketched the bunch of grapes based on my reference photo that I took from Pixabay. I'll leave the links in the description section. And over here I have filtered out 4 main colors that I'll be using for this painting. So based on the reference photo, I noticed that there are a few of those grapes that has got a lighter color or color other than the main green, light green. So I have pre-marked some of those circles or the grapes, individual grape sketches, so that I would remember to use the lighter shades on them. So to kickstart, I have used the golden bismuth yellow, or in other words a lighter shade of yellow, to start painting as the first color. And I'm going to do this part by part and not entirely the bunch of grapes, so that I can evaluate a bit part by part and decide on how to go about this coloring. And since these are green grapes, so the second color that I'm using here is the light olive, and you can see here I'm just trying to focus on the outline of the grapes, since these few grapes are actually the lighter colored ones, and those that I notice has a full green shade, I'm coloring them fully in this green shade. Done with the green, now the third color is a desert rose, which is like a peachy orange tone, and I'm just coloring it towards the middle part of the grapes. So moving on, I am going to start the blending process of these few grapes using my silicone shaper. You can use other blending tools as well, including a Q-tip, but in the last few weeks I have been using the color shaper to blend in smoothly with all my pastel drawings, be it a soft pastel or a dry pastel drawing. It makes life easier. I can focus them quite precisely. Just a close-up view of the difference between the blended grape and the one on the left, which hasn't been blended yet, which is why blending tools are actually important in the first few stages of your pastel drawing. And based on my observation after the blending process, I think I'm quite happy with the steps that I have done, which is by coloring in the yellow, bismuth yellow first, followed by the other colors. So I'm going to repeat these steps for all the other grapes as well. So just watch closely the entire process, and I'll be explaining some of those crucial areas as needed. Just to highlight a point about coloring the sketches using Caran d'Ache pastel pencils, you don't have to apply too much of pressure in order to get those colors in, because their colors seem to be a bit creamy, so there's not too much of effort when I color in my drawings usually. And the crucial part comes in when you do the blending process. And why do I call the blending process crucial is because you might get surprises when the colors blend in. Probably it was not the color that you expected to see. So just bear in mind when you layer in those colors as a first step, just try to kickstart with lighter colors so that you don't get surprises when you do the blending. I think I have mentioned this quite often in most of my tutorials, including soft pastels as well as watercolor. So it is always safer to start your coloring process or painting process with lighter shades. And if you are afraid to even kickstart the first step, then I would say you should test out those colors on another sheet of paper where your main painting is not done. Alright, I am extending that light olive green onto the branches of the grapes, just lightly drawing the outlines that I have pre-sketched with pencil, and coloring in wherever I feel necessary some grapes that I have left out. And I'm also extending the bismuth yellow onto the branches just to match up with the grape shades. So at this point of time, I have used the fourth color from my palette, which is burnt sienna, and applying that color onto the branches mainly, as well as the pedicel. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the word. That's the part which holds the fruit or the grape. And after that, I am just blending that in lightly using the silicone shaper. Just a quick show on how I clean the silicone color shaper. Just wiping it on a wet cloth followed by a dry paper towel, and then continuing the blending process because I don't want to stain other parts of my painting with a foreign color. And now I have started to extend the burnt sienna as well as desert rose onto the stick, which is a common setup in vineyard that holds the entire grape plant. Next, I am going to fill in those empty areas using a darker shade, which is phthalo green. Well, apart from dark areas in between those bunch of grapes, it can also take up in the form of grapes at the back, and I am also extending the same color for the casted shadow of the bunch of grapes onto the leaves as well as the wood that supports the vine. So just quickly sketching out the outline of the leaf on the right hand side that I noticed based on the reference photo, and just filling up the dark area with the same color. And I'm going to give that a quick blend in and this time I'm using color shaper with flat tip. Since this is a generous area of space for me to blend in, it will be much easier for me to use the flat color shaper. So for narrow areas, I am using back the color shaper which has the narrow tip or sharp tip. Alright, back to the light olive shade. I'm coloring in those areas where I foresee the leaf motif. Just quickly coloring that in and going to give it a blend in as well. And since the top leaf has more exposure to natural light or sunlight, I notice it has a lighter shade of green. So I'm layering in the light yellow first before I finish it off with the light olive green. I'm also extending that light yellow to the other parts of the leaves just to give it some color variations. Alright, I am going to skip the entire blending of these leaves since you already know what blending looks like, and move on to the next step, which is the remaining casted shadow onto the leaves portion. So I'm quickly drawing the casted shadow on the leaf using the same phthalo green that I used earlier. Now blending the custard shadow that I drew as well as some of those additional colors that I layered in. Alright, time to smoothen some part of the painting as well as the grapes, especially the green ones. So I am using white over here to layer down onto some part of the grapes fruit, as I notice that the grapes has a light sheen or shine on their fruit, which is reflected by the skin. I think you should be able to imagine the look of green grapes. They have some white patches on their skin. So by layering in the white pastel, you will be able to achieve this effect on the grape or any type of fruit that has a similar pattern. I am also extending the same white onto the branches that has a similar effect of shine. You can see now that the green grapes look much more toned down. Now for some extra details on some part of the grapes, I am using a darker orange, which is fast orange. Just layering that together with the burnt sienna that I've used earlier in this demonstration. Just giving them a light blend in after drawing them onto the surface of the grapes. Just observing and I think I'm quite happy with it, so I am just going to repeat the same color combinations, which is the fast orange and burnt sienna, onto a few parts of the grapes fruit. Now, you don't have to follow the exact pattern that you observe on your reference photo. Just be casual and make some marks or patterns on the grape skin or surface based on your own liking. So, you said these are common things that we see on fruit's skin. So, just be casual about it. Nothing to worry about being precise about those marks. So after I am done with these fine details, I noticed that there were some gaps, white areas that need some filling in with the same color combinations, which is the yellow and green. And I am also layering in a little bit of that white pastel wherever I felt necessary. And I have also drawn in some extra casted shadow from the other grapefruits that are overlapping the lower grapes. Once again, drawing some casted shadow on the right hand side of the grapes bunch. Once again, more fine-tuned detailing using the light olive green. Right now I am marking some sharp highlights using the white pastel. Once again, filling out some gaps. This time it is green and white. Right now I am using black to darken some of the darker areas or shadows to intensify the look of the shadow. So I am going to repeat this layering process of black shade onto the right hand side as well. More fine-tuned details of the leaf motifs using phthalo green. Alright, I'm almost done with this grapes bunch. I'm just filling in some light blue as well as light violet just to show an impression of sky that is peeking through the vineyard. And I'm also using the phthalo green to scribble in some impressions of loose leaves or stems in the background. A little bit of the bismuth yellow to darken the wood color, and a little bit of fine tune with the black shade just to give it a vibrancy and sharp look. Extending a little bit of the burnt sienna onto the leaf surface since leaves are not perfectly green. And over here I decided to add in some extra touch to create some contrast onto the painting by using scarlet red. Just here and there, not too much. Small touch on the branches as well as some of the grape skin. A little bit onto the wood to add some vibrancy. And finally I am done with this bunch of grapes in the vineyard. How do you like the look of it? Do the grapes look appealing and realistic to you on the screen? I like the appearance of the golden colored grapes as they add more value to the entire bunch of grapes painting. And I also like the appearance of the scarlet color that I used to finish up the entire painting. So if you have become a fan of my work, then do like, share and subscribe to my channel. And I hope to see you once again in another exciting tutorial. Bye.